Hey everybody, Crystal, your college financing coach here. We are going to do a deep dive on University of Washington admissions. I would say I get, being in Washington State, a bazillion questions about, Crystal, what is the secret sauce on how to get into University of Washington? Well, guess what? There isn't a secret sauce, but I'm going to give you all the key facts of the things that you need to know, plus maybe some other fun, silly tidbits. So make sure that you stay till the end. And I'm also going to share with you the statistics in terms of getting into some of their impacted majors that everybody loves, such as CS, computer science, engineering, and business, for opportunities for the direct admit rates as well as in-state and out-of-state, so that you have those in your pocket. Okay, now here's the deal. They truly are test optional when it comes to SAT and ACT. We just did an update for the admissions for this last season, and they said that only 50 students out of the entire population that applied had their test scores reviewed on the back end because their GPA coursework was on the cusp. So that then gave them an opportunity, if they had high scores, to potentially get acceptance then into the university, whereas maybe they wouldn't have before. So it's a very small portion of that overall picture. Now, what is not considered in University of Washington admissions? Outside of SAT scores, letters of recommendation. That is not part of the game. Demonstrated interest. They do not care. Okay. Legacy status. Nope. Interviews. Big nope. Profiles provided by schools, also known as they don't care what high school you came from. They don't care what that school has to say about themselves. Okay. They're not perusing that. They do not look at AP or IB test scores for admissions. And they aren't going to look at the Common App essay because they have their own essay built in to their application. Okay. Now, with them going on to the Common Application, though, it got more competitive. So this last year, they had a 20% increase in overall applications, right? And then this year, they're anticipating a 10% increase in applications. This is a school that has lots and lots of people that are applying. It has gotten so competitive that if you got waitlisted, then you were not going to be able to appeal to get off the wait list, because they did not have enough staff to be able to go over 2,000 plus appeals for admissions because everybody wanted to get in, right? So this is one of those things where they're changing priorities with especially how many people are coming in and are interested in the school, just based on making sure that they can survive application season as well. All right. I would say some of this, this is the most important key factor in terms of University of Washington admissions, is academics. However, it is not just I have a GPA that is a 3.75 to a 4.0, which falls within the range of what University of Washington says is part of their incoming freshman class. Okay? Not true. What they're looking at is the depth and the things that go behind your GPA. I liken this to kind of the UC schools and how they think about this process, because when it comes to coursework, it really is a matter of what they call their core academic requirements. So if you think about it, they have these specific classes that you have to take as high school graduation requirements, where like English, history, math, right? Most of the time, people are thinking, well, I need to take, computer science as an elective, and that's going to help me get into the computer science program. That's not the case for University of Washington, okay? What they care about the most is what they call the CADR classes, CADR. And I'll put a link to this below so you can see what it is specifically for University of Washington, right? They want 4 years of English. They want, 2 years of having a foreign language. 3 years of lab science. Well, guess what? When you think about all of these different things, if you do, say, 4 years of science instead of a 3 years of science, that is taking on more. That's what they want to see. And that class is potentially an AP or an IB or a running start kind of course that you're taking rigor associated with those core academic requirements. Okay. This is something that is foundational for them in saying you're taking the hardest classes at your high school that you have available to you, which they do know this, and that you are taking more of those core academic courses that are rigorous, and you're doing well. Crazy. I know, that is their core factor. That is the thing that they care about. And then everybody's going to go, well, Crystal, so what if I do a computer science research project and I create my own app? Is that going to help me get into AP computer science? No, it's actually not. Okay. When they look at the personal achievements of everything, there's the essay, and then they have a cultural awareness piece where they want to know what you're really going to contribute to the community based on who you are as a person. Very broad, open question. And then you've got your 10 activities that you put in there. Really, they're using these other personal achievement. This is the personal side of things, right? They're using that as context. They want you to do stuff, don't get me wrong, but they are not giving preference for somebody who did volunteer hours versus building an app in terms of the sake of getting direct into any specific program or into the university as a whole. So they are doing more of a comprehensive admissions piece of just saying, right, like, did you have some stuff that we need to know about in the context of who you are that's going to help shape the rest of your application, or maybe give us an understanding of why maybe a GPA wasn't great freshman year, but that we see a positive progression, right? And you're telling us more about that. Those kinds of things, right? The context of the overall, and that you're not just doing academics, but that you're a well-rounded individual. That's the scope of how they're thinking about it. Whereas their number one piece is academics, okay? And that in not just GPA. Remember that. It's the whole context of those things. University of Washington also unweights GPAs. Okay, so if a weighted GPA is sent in, they're going to take it, they're going to unravel it, and they're going to determine what it is that they're going to look at. They do look at grades across all of the classes that you have taken, but yet again, they put that emphasis more on those core classes. And if it is, they have the additional comments section. If there is something that you feel like the university should know about you or your high school, like, hey, I truly did take the max amount of classes that I had available to me in math and in this area, right? Like I couldn't get to, Calc AB because we didn't have it, right? I would have loved to, but I couldn't. Then those are also facts, yet again, kind of well-rounded out profile them, can see what it is that everything looks like. So when you get waitlisted at University of Washington, this year, like I was saying, because they had so many people, the year before, there was no movement in state off the wait list. People weren't getting in. This year, they said that there were only about 60 residents that got off of the wait list. And did they have rhyme or reason behind that? No, not necessarily. And this is something that you cannot appeal until you've gotten a final admissions decision. So while you are on the wait list, you cannot appeal. Once you've been given a wait list decision and saying you're denied, then you could appeal. If you were straight up denied at the beginning, then you could appeal, right? So there's kind of, they're recreating how they're kind of viewing and giving people this opportunity to ask again. I would say one of the things too that I've had families ask me is, well, Crystal, don't they admit, like I've had more people from my high school this year get into University of Washington. So obviously we must be a feeder school somehow, right? Like, and the answer is no. Clarification happened today. It's 2/3 of the seats are for residents. They do care. They are looking at that piece and they're looking at all residents together. They're looking at all non-residents together. And then they're looking at all international students together, right? Like there's 3 different pools of applicants that are, we're not being compared against each other. It's all residents or compared against residents. And it does not matter. They do not track demographically, are you coming from Walla Walla? Are you coming from Seattle, right? Like nobody is getting preference based on their high school or location for the sake of admittance at all into University of Washington. Crazy, eh? Some other just like the fun tidbits, right? It's a huge school. So of course you're going to have a bazillion opportunities. You've got over 1,000 clubs and organizations. In the hub, they have a 12-lane bowling alley. They have mall-like food courts. They have a game area. They have a bike shop, right? You do have living learning communities, and it is done by floor for residence halls. So those that do want to get more involved with those people like-minded, then that is definitely an opportunity. Well, actually, #1 oceanography major in the world. So yes, they're known for business, computer science, engineering, but oceanography also very strong. And funny thing, they have protected airspace, right? So when you go on campus and you go stare out across the fountain to Mount Rainier, nothing will ever be built there. It is safe air. Campus is roughly the same acreage as Disneyland, right? So you're going to get your steps in. Overall, it's a fairly large campus. And they have a FIG, is what they call it, where there are 20 students that are in a cohort together in 2 to 3 classes, right? So freshman year, you kind of do have a little bit additional support opportunities with that cohort of friends and people that you're going to do some of those classes with. So another fun thing. Okay, I told you, wait to the end. I'm going to share with you admittance rates. We know UW just in general is challenging to get into. In-state, the computer science, granted, all of these statistics were from last application cycle. They're going to update these statistics in October for this next year, which currently computer science, if you are in-state, is 20 to 25% in terms of an acceptance rate. Engineering is 30 to 35%. Business is 30 to 50%. Pretty wide range, but business you can get into once you are there and applying as a sophomore, right? So it's not impacted so terribly as the other ones are. There is an opportunity for business to get in once you're enrolled. However, out of state, oof, guys, computer science has a 3% acceptance rate, engineering is 20 to 25%, and business is 30 to 50%. Okay, so yet again, you can see business not nearly as challenging. Therefore, it is stuff to take into consideration when it comes to how these things roll out. Scholarship-wise, there is a presidential scholarship available for in-state residents that I believe they said was $10,000 a year, and out-of-state students get purple and gold is what they call it, and we call that a courtesy discount, which ranges from $3,000 to $7,000, and they said about 60% of students get it. But when you think about sticker cost of 60 grand a year, it really is just a courtesy discount of, hey, we know you want to come to UW and you want to pay us full price, right? So all of the things that we should know about University of Washington in a nutshell, okay? I have more tour and updates gonna be hitting this way, but really just remember, highlight is academics is the most important thing for admittance into University of Washington. So look at the links below and understanding where that comes in for their caters, but then I'll also put a link in there too. They have a fun thing about like the outcomes of each of their majors, right? Like job placement and just kind of different opportunities associated that way, right? Like why would you want to go to University of Washington? So I'll put that there as a resource for you guys as well. All right, I'll see you guys next time.